What's going on, everyone? So today is free agency. Lakers could not be set up any better. The Lakers are in the absolute best position they possibly could be in because of the news we got yesterday, right? You got Day'Ron Sharpe, who became available. You got Mo Wagner, too, but personally, I'd stay away from him. But Day'Ron Sharpe, DeAndre Ayton are the two guys, right? Those are the two guys. If you're the Lakers, I am doing everything to get those two. Whatever I have to do, whatever I need to commit, that's what I am doing to do that, right? You get those two guys, there goes your center concerns and questions for the next few years, right? Ayton would be a little risk, if I'm being honest. Also, does he end up kind of becoming a stopgap because he's like, hey, I just kind of want to prove it deal? But if it works, the Lakers could be the one that ends up paying him and working that out. But assuming that you can get those two guys, which I do think those two guys are most likely. Day'Ron supposedly want to go Lakers. Lakers were trying to get Day'Ron on several occasions. Ayton, him and Luka share an agent together. A lot of talks and buzz about that. We might not hear anything about that though until Wednesday, because he has to clear waivers first, and that won't happen until Wednesday. So keep that in mind, right? If you don't hear anything later today, you're like, where's the Ayton signing? Be patient. It should be around the corner, assuming that actually ends up getting done. But what that does for you is it solves all of your issues, right? Now you got two legit centers that by itself would be incredible upgrades, but it takes all the pressure off of you, right? Now, you don't have to worry about teams trying to fleece you on a center, right? We got the reports that teams are trying to fleece the Lakers because they know you are desperate for a center. I did a video on this channel talking about, at the time, Clint Capella, because we didn't know about Day'Ron, we didn't know about DeAndre Ayton. And I said, if the Lakers are to sign a guy like a Clint Capella, it changes everything and it will make things easier for the Lakers to get a trade done because now teams know you're not desperate anymore. We can go with Clint Capella as our starter, right? We can go get him. Well, guess what? If the Lakers sign Ayton and, even if it's not a Day'Ron Sharpe and an Ayton, if they just get Ayton and then whatever, Clint Capella or a Brook Lopez or whomever, right? Got your clear-cut starter, got your guy long-term, Luke Cornett, right? If you can get something like that, well, guess what? All of those teams, you should have done the deal at our price because now you have to figure that out. And there's like a handful of teams, if that truly need a center. And there are still several teams that have too many centers, an abundance of centers. And it's like, you had your chance and you got greedy, right? And this is why I talk about patience. I know it's frustrating. I know as a fan base, we're not the most patient. I know we want to get things done sooner rather than later because we don't want to have to worry about it. It's like, come on, we need a center. I get it. But patience is key, right? And to Rob's credit, done a lot wrong, but to his credit, he's been much better in the patience department lately, right? Earlier in his tenure, he was not super patient. Earlier, he was a guy that was just making deals, overpaying, trying to get things done, and it bit us a couple times. Where now, you see him being more patient. There's always that next guy. Like, that's something that I talk about regularly, and I try to get across to people, right? No, what happens when LeBron leaves? Don't worry about it. You're the Lakers. Some other star is going to be like, I could go to the Lakers and play with Luka and try to contend for championships. Why wouldn't I do that? Like, there will always be that next guy. Like the center position. I said, I'm not worried about the center position. I'm not. It's the least of my worries. It's all the other things. It's getting those 3-and-D wings. It's getting those athletic players, right? Because those are the ones that are in higher demand. Most teams already have their centers, and there's like 30 centers available. Lakers are going to get one, and that's not counting the 5 at the time that were free agents, and now there's like 10 of them, right? So Lakers are going to get a center. But now look, imagine if the Lakers would have went and traded a first, Dalton Connect, and all this stuff to go get DeAndre Ayton. Because there's a lot of fans that really wanted DeAndre Ayton, right? And you go do that to appease the fans because there's all the noise and everyone's screaming, get a center, get a center, get a center. So you go and you overpay for a center, and then a DeAndre Ayton becomes available, right? It's like, so we just overpaid for a Nick Claxton and we could have just gotten Ayton for free, right? Or you go and you trade for Ayton, you oversell, and then you get the report that like, oh, if the Blazers didn't trade him to the Lakers, they were just going to cut him. And now all of us are like, what are you doing? But again, it's like, at the time we were begging to do anything. Patience is key. Again, Lakers will find something. Lakers will do something. Again, it's the Lakers, right? The big question before that was like, what happens when, Anthony Davis ages out and LeBron leaves? What are we going to do? Lakers got Luka. What's going to happen when Kobe retires? I mean, faders were over. I'm old enough to remember when they were, enjoy Kobe because you're not getting a star ever again. And 2 years later, LeBron comes to the Lakers and then Anthony Davis the following year and then you win a championship, right? Again, but beyond that, right, kind of went on a little rant there. But beyond that, Lakers are in good shape as far as like being able to really round out this roster. Let's say Lakers get 8, right? Best case scenario, right? Talk about best case scenario here. Lakers get Ayton. They get Day'Ron Sharpe. Boom. Solve your center position. You're great. You still have all your assets. You still have all your tradable salaries, all your tradable players. Now, if I'm Rob, I'm looking to go and make moves to go round out that wing depth. Can you get a Andrew Wiggins? Can you get a Terrence Mann? Can you get 2 or 3 wing players, right? Also, if you get Ayton, I think there's even an argument, like, do you maybe go look to trade Austin Reeves? Because now you're adding like an 18-point-a-game center that now can move into your third option instead of being your fourth option, and maybe you can turn him into more. Also, I worry about Ayton defensively, right? Like that's my concern. Lakers are going to drop 130 points, but they might give up 140. Like that's my concern. But you just kind of like look at that best case scenario. Boom. Now you have your assets and whatnot to go make the trades for various wings. And you see the Lakers, to their credit, have been doing a really good job of getting young, athletic, long, versatile wings. Because that's what you want along Luka, right? You want around Luka a bunch of athletic, just versatile, long wings that can make up for the deficiencies that Luka does have. Luka's going to generate the offense. Now, obviously, you want shooting and all that other stuff, but Luka by himself is going to make everybody around him look amazing. He's the system. He's the guy. Put the ball in his hands, and you're going to score 120 points a night, right? Like, you don't have to worry about it. You just need the complementary players and athletes and the defenders and all that. You're seeing the Lakers really starting to carve that out. I love that. The other big thing is the potential Dorian Finney-Smith trade. Now, I know people are going to say, because I already got comments on it, are like, Dorian Finney-Smith opted out. That doesn't mean that the Lakers can't go and still trade him, right? This thing called a sign and trade, which is probably most likely. And supposedly Houston is willing to trade Cam Whitmore and Jock Landale to land Dorian Finney-Smith. Yes, they could sign him to the full mid-level exception, but they need to get off of Cam Whitmore, and Jock Landale is on a non-guaranteed deal, so they could actually take back more money as well as still using the mid-level exception, right? So even in a trade, it makes more sense for a team like Houston to make that sign and trade. And then they're going to be hard kept at the first apron regardless because they're planning on using their full mid-level exception. So regardless, they're going to be hard capped, right? But it makes more sense to take on a Dorian Finney-Smith and a sign and trade. And then now you could go use the exception that you need to use to go get that other player or two, right? So that is why I think that still probably gets done if Dorian Finney-Smith does end up leaving. Now, maybe it's already happened by the time you watch this video, right? Depends, right? But you do something like that, now that opens up a whole new world for you, right? Because Lakers can make that trade and still have their full mid-level exception. So you could turn Dorian Finney-Smith into Cam Whitmore and then still get DeAndre Ayton. And then you'd still have Shake Milton as well as Jock Landale and $11 million of non-guaranteed money that you could just clear off if you needed to, right? Like, let's say you make some free agency signings, you do a couple things, right? You want to free up your buy-in or whatever, right? Like, do a couple things to unload, or you could look to trade them and flip them, right? Take that $11 million plus connect, because it's all like, again, it's non-guaranteed money. So maybe you could find a player in that like 15 million range where it's like, a team like the Pelicans, right? Could you maybe do something where you get a Herb Jones? Because it's like he's going to be like your 7th guy on that team now. And you could use some shooters, some young athletic shooters. Here's one of those guys. We also get you off of 11 million right out the gate, right? Or a team like the Nets, right? Can you maybe do a a Cam Johnson trade, because they've been trying to trade Cam Johnson for a while. Can you maybe stack a couple contracts and then be like, hey, we can clear $11 million off your books immediately. On top of clearing the $11 million off your books immediately, get you a young guy in Dalton Connect that you can go and have. Right? Again, just exploring and throwing out options that are kind of coming to mind. Be creative. But the Lakers are, like I said, are primed seriously, they're in as good of a position as you could ask for, because they have Luka. LeBron, yes, LeBron might get traded. He might want to get traded, whatever. But what was the whole thing? If the Lakers can build a contender, then he's not going to want to leave. He wants to stay. Well, if you go get Ayton and then go trade for whatever, an Andrew Wiggins, right? Just using him as an example, an Andrew Wiggins, and now you got Ayton and Andrew Wiggins in the offseason, and then you go and use your mid-level exception and go bring in, can you bring in a Bruce Brown and a Day'Ron Sharpe? Be like, hey, we have $14 million that we can spend. We can split it down the middle for both of you, right? Or one guy gets 8, one guy gets 5, whatever, right? And you work something like that out. Now all of a sudden, Lakers are looking really good. Now you got that defensive 3-and-D wing. You got your clear-cut star, center that could be your center for the next 6 years if it works out. You got Luka and LeBron as your 2 stars. Austin Reeves as that third guy who, if you need to in a pinch, you could trade and get some stuff back. You got some bench depth. You got versatility. You got a backup center. You got everything that you can need. Lakers are in as good of a position as you could possibly pray for. I mean, it's great. But at the end of the day, it's up to Rob Pelinka to follow everything through, right? It's nice to get the menu. You still have to order. Right? You still have to make sure everything goes right and you pay at the end. So, not completely out of the woods yet, but I'm very excited for the position that the Lakers are in. And I think everyone should be, because this is great. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, pass question you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.